Hi, good afternoon. Eid Mubarak, everyone. So this is today we'll be going through the business pages of the Indian Express today. Today is the 21st. Recording this on the 21st. We'll go through the business pages of the Economic Times today, inshallah. This heading: wider ambit for Aadhaar. Center wants private entities, states to use it for authentication. So basically the center is sort of wanting to expand the ambit for Aadhaar, right? So uh, there's a point in the piece about whether this violates the Supreme Court uh, judgment, right? The Supreme Court held the use of Aadhaar detailed by private entities is thus unconstitutional. Uh, however, the officials now are saying that this particular proposal will not violate that observation. Okay, that the draft amendments also say that the entity that wants to utilize the measure will have to submit a proposal to the center with justification on why it wants to conduct Aadhaar authentication and whether it is in the interest of the state. It wants to expand the use of Aadhaar-based authentications to a range of private entities. In 2019, the government had amended the Aadhaar Act 2016, under which it had allowed only banking and telecom companies to carry out such authentications for KYC requirements. Right? What the government is proposing also potentially opens the gates for social media platforms like Facebook, WhatsApp, and Twitter, potentially enabling Aadhaar-based verification of users. However, officials said that the possibility of that happening was unlikely because they are of the opinion that these social media sites actually want anonymous uh, accounts. Okay, so anonymous use is sort of built in the DNA of these social media websites, so they will not go for Aadhaar authentication. Okay, that's that for that item. There's another interesting one here. NPC minutes. So this is the Monetary Policy Committee minutes. Rate hike cycle not over. Inflation a concern. So basically, they are saying that they will further. There is possibility of rate hikes going into the future. More rate hikes in terms of the base rate, repo rate. Um, I mean, this is the same with the US. And the US, although uh, uh, the US target for the Federal Reserve there is about 2%, right? 2% inflation, that's the target. And they currently are at 5.5, I think, right? So they still, and potentially the US is facing recession. Uh, so the Fed really doesn't have too much to play with, but still they have made it clear that they are going to raise rates further, although not so drastically, but in stages, so that they reach the target of 2% inflation. Uh, the RBI in India, I think, has about a target of 4% inflation, right? Uh, and like a 5.2, so 4% over the medium term. And the RBI has a bit more to play with because India is growing at least 5-6%, right? So it has the risk of recession is not there, so they can still to control inflation, they can still raise rates. Uh, right. So yeah, that's what the news item is about. Okay, there's some explanation. Explain what is triggering the steady slide in IT stocks. This is by Hitesh Vyas. Uh, so while IT stocks down, they are saying the fall in the sector has been triggered by lower than expected results of Infosys and TCS. And we'll further read even HCL Technologies also has not performed that well. So the whole sector is basically not performing as per expectations. And hence basically this is why the stocks are not performing. It's a quite a big so quite multiple columns here for the story, but I'll leave it at that. Yeah, carrying on from that previous item, HCL issues muted revenue growth forecast for FY24 for financial year 24. Right, so carrying on from the poor performance of TCS and Infosys. Okay, sort of disappointing earnings by TCS and Infosys. So HCL Technologies reported a consolidated net profit of 3,983 crores, down 3% on a sequential basis. However, the company beat a Bloomberg consensus estimate of so it actually performed better than the estimate from Bloomberg. Okay, but on a sequential basis, it was down 3%. Uh, so basically, this is just what they have. The revenue growth is not as high as what was expected. Okay, and then you have another story down. Twitter rival coup fires 30% of employees. Okay, so this is following from over the past few months we had particularly social media sites, but also the IT in general have seen a lot of downsizing, if you like. Yeah, so Facebook, Google, Twitter, of course, when Elon Musk took over, a lot of firings have happened, and so coup. Uh, this is an India-based social media website, right? It's a rival for Twitter. So has laid off about 30% of its around 30% of its 300 employees. Okay, it's not a big firm in that sense, but yeah. So 30% would be about 100, right? About 90 employees. So that's one news item, and moving on. It's a small item here from Reuters. Meta, that's Facebook, Meta Platforms Incorporation, Wednesday carried out another round of job cuts, uh, this time hitting engineers and adjacent tech teams as Chief Executive Mark Zuckerberg further moved to streamline the business in a bid to make 2023 a year of efficiency. So that huge play on Meta on the metaverse is not playing out for Facebook, for Zuckerberg. He changed the name to Meta, right? I guess in anticipation that the whole platform would now be focused on the metaverse, but metaverse hasn't taken off. Uh, Slightly besides the point here, but I think one of the reasons why it hasn't taken off is because of the VI thing gadgets that you have to wear. It's too cumbersome, right? For long for wearing those. So at least in terms of the hardware, the technology isn't there yet for metaverse to be to. Just that's just my opinion. For I mean that the hardware technology is still not there yet to for metaverse to become viable. So yeah, I think Meta, in this case Zuckerberg, sort of losing out, right? He betted big on metaverse. Another sort of story, a bigger one. Vodafone India appoints Perla as a non-executive director. Okay, so Kumar Mangalam Perla. That's one story. The story is SC Supreme Court ruling may lead to rise in transfer pricing litigations uh, for high courts. Right, the Supreme Court judgment that high courts can examine whether the ITAT followed the right rules while deciding on transfer pricing cases will result in increase in litigations at the high court level, as both taxpayers and IT department may go for appeal against adverse tribunal orders, tax experts said. That's about it in terms of. There's another small one. Vedanta pledges Hindustan Zinc shares to raise rupees 1,500 crores. So mining company Vedanta Limited has pledged another 2.44% of its present stake of its subsidiary Hindustan Zinc to raise rupees 1,500 crores. The latest pledging by the Anil Agarwal company, totaling 103.24 million shares, is as security for a term loan the firm raised. Okay. So yeah, this is I think all for today uh, from the Indian Express. Okay, all right, that's it. Take care. I'll see you next time.